What's up, survivors? This week we are going to learn about heredity, inheritance, and variation.
This video is for educational purposes only. Uploading it in any social media platform is not allowed.
Look at the picture. There are different kinds of people, different kinds of animals, and Hydra with its young plant. So how it is possible nga naiga kalahi-lahi og dagway og lahi-lahi nga animals? Nga naman, it is because of reproduction. When we say reproduction, it is the process of creating new organisms from existing individuals. Let us have our lesson objectives first. At the end of the lesson, you should be able to, number 1, differentiate sexual from asexual reproduction in terms of the number of individuals involved and similarities of offspring to parents. Number 2, describe the process of fertilization. And number 3, create a scrapbook that illustrates the advantages and disadvantages of sexual and asexual reproduction. There are two types of reproduction: the sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. When we say sexual reproduction, it is the process that involves the union of sex cells or gametes. The male have a sperm cell, that is the male gamete, and female have egg cell or ovum, female gamete. In sexual reproduction, it occurs during meiosis stage, a cell division where gametes or sex cells are reproduced. So during this stage, the sperm is called spermatogenesis and egg cell called oogenesis. And since humans have 46 chromosomes, and that is haploid, contain one set of chromosomes. Since our chromosomes is a combination from our father and mother, so we have diploid, 23 chromosomes from our father and 23 chromosomes from our mother that makes it haploid. Okay. Now let's learn the process of fertilization.
It is the story of all of us. During sexual intercourse, about 300 million sperm enter the vagina. Soon afterward, millions of them will either flow out of the vagina or die in its acidic environment. However, many survive because of the protective elements provided in the fluid surrounding them. Next, the sperm must pass through the cervix, an opening into the uterus. Usually, it remains tightly closed, but here the cervix is open for a few days while the woman ovulates. The sperm swim through the cervical mucus, which is thinned to a more watery consistency for easier passage. Once inside the cervix, the sperm continues swimming toward the uterus, though millions will die trying to make it through the mucus. Some sperm remain behind, caught in the folds of the cervix, but they may later continue the journey as a backup to the first group. Inside the uterus, muscular uterine contractions assist the sperm on their journey toward the egg. However, resident cells from the woman's immune system, mistaking the sperm for foreign invaders, destroy thousands more. Next, half the sperm head for the empty fallopian tube, while the other half swim toward the tube containing the unfertilized egg. Now, only a few thousand remain. Inside the fallopian tube, tiny cilia push the egg toward the uterus. To continue, the sperm must surge against this motion to reach the egg. Some sperm get trapped in the cilia and die. During this part of the journey, chemicals in the reproductive tract cause the membranes covering the heads of the sperm to change. As a result, the sperm become hyperactive, swimming harder and faster toward their destination. At long last, the sperm reach the egg. Only a few dozen of the original 300 million sperm remain. The egg is covered with a layer of cells called the corona radiata. The sperm must push through this layer to reach the outer layer of the egg, the zona pellucida. When sperm reach the zona pellucida, they attach to specialized sperm receptors on the surface, which triggers their acrosomes to release digestive enzymes, enabling the sperm to burrow into the layer. Inside the zona pellucida is a narrow, fluid-filled space just outside the egg cell membrane. The first sperm to make contact will fertilize the egg. After a perilous journey and against incredible odds, a single sperm attaches to the egg cell membrane. Within a few minutes, their outer membranes fuse and the egg pulls the sperm inside. This event causes changes in the egg membrane that prevent other sperm from attaching to it. Next, the egg releases chemicals that push other sperm away from the egg and create an impenetrable fertilization membrane. As the reaction spreads outward, the zona pellucida hardens, trapping any sperm unlucky enough to be caught inside. Outside the egg, sperm are no longer able to attach to the zona pellucida. Meanwhile, inside the egg, the tightly packed male genetic material spreads out. A new membrane forms around the genetic material, creating the male pronucleus. Inside, the genetic material reforms into 23 chromosomes. The female genetic material, awakened by the fusion of the sperm with the egg, finishes dividing, resulting in the female pronucleus, which also contains 23 chromosomes. As the male and female pronuclei form, spiderweb-like threads, called microtubules, pull them toward each other. The two sets of chromosomes join together, completing the process of fertilization. At this moment, a unique genetic code arises, instantly determining gender, hair color, eye color, and hundreds of other characteristics. This new single cell, the zygote, is the beginning of a new human being. And now the cilia in the fallopian tube gently sweep the zygote toward the uterus, where he or she will implant in the rich uterine lining, growing and maturing for the next 9 months until ready for birth.
So, isn't it amazing? The creation of life, class? From the beginning, you are a survivor. Congratulations! Tap your shoulder, because you are a survivor. So, there are two types of fertilization. We have the internal and external fertilization. In internal fertilization, human undergoes with it. Okay? Okay, there are ma-develop sa tummy sa mother ang baby. So, internal fertilization. While in external fertilization, mao ni siya ang mga amphibians ang undergo. Frogs, for example, frogs and toads, and fishes. So, what will happen? They are undergoing spawning. Spawning wherein both male and female in the same area release their gametes into the surroundings. So, what will happen is, female frog mag-produce siya og egg cell. Ang male frog po dayon mag-produce siya og sperm cell sa water. So, dito sa area, nag-produce sila duha. So, naada yung fertilization nga ma-occur. However, there is advantage and disadvantages of this fertilization, of this process. The advantage is that kung gusto ka nga daghan ang ma-produce, large number of offspring ang ma-produce, then you are going to use this external fertilization. However, ang iyang disadvantage kay if there is a hazardous environment, greatly reduce the chance of survival. So kung delikado ka tong environment, gamay ra pod ang maka-survive kay naa man siya sa gawas. External man siya.
Fertilization. In many animals, fertilization takes place outside the body of the female. In these animals, fertilization takes place in water. Let us find out how this happens. During spring or rainy season, frogs and toads move to ponds and slow-flowing streams. When the male and female come together in water, the female lays hundreds of eggs. Unlike hen's egg, frog's egg is not covered by a shell, and it is comparatively very delicate. A layer of jelly holds the eggs together and provides protection to the eggs. As the eggs are laid, the male deposits sperms over them. Each sperm swims randomly in water with the help of its long tail. The sperms come in contact with the eggs. This results in fertilization. This type of fertilization, in which the fusion of a male and a female gamete takes place outside the body of the female, is called external fertilization. It is very common in aquatic animals such as fish, starfish, etc.
So let's move on to asexual reproduction. When we say asexual reproduction, it does not involve the union of gametes, so there is no need of egg cell and sperm cell. The offspring here is the primary method of reproduction exhibited by unicellular organisms. So, unsa ba ito mga unicellular? Such as bacteria and archaea or prokaryotes, protists and yeasts, and some vertebrates. So, ang uban, dili na mag-undergo og sexual reproduction. Diretso na sila sa asexual reproduction. So, we have here example of asexual reproduction. So, unsa mga method para maka-reproduce ka asexually? We have a binary fission. This method, wherein genetic material of a parent cell replicates followed by the division of cell into two genetically identical daughter cells. Kung sa ang dagway sa parent, maupod ang dagway sa daughter cell. Okay? Pareha gyud sila, walay nagkalahi. Kay kung sa parent, maura pod ang daughter cell. Binary, it means kaduha. Gito nga siya kaduha. Kung maputol siya, katong iyang kaputol is mutubo o same sa parent. Next is bud formation. What is bud? Budding. Okay? A new organism develops from the outgrowth called bud. So, that grows in a specific site in the body of a matured or older species. Okay, for example, here we have Hydra. It is a bacteria. Nga dili nato ni makita with our naked eye. Kinahanglan nato og microscope para makita nato ni siya. Kakahita po ani sa bud formation na ay mutubo sa iya ha. Then, kani mutubo, after mag-mature na ni siya, matanggal ni siya, og pariha nagyapon sa iyahang itsura. Mao na ni siya ang iyang daughter cells. Next is regeneration. Mag-regenerate. Ability to replace any lost or missing part of the body like starfish and lizard. So, for example, kaning lizard class, kung imong putlon iyang ikog, ga-undergo mo siya regeneration, mag-regenerate ra siya, mutubo siya outro. Nakatry na ba mong putulog ikog sa butiki? Pag putlo na ninyo, dili na siya mamatay, kaya nga no, mutubo ra na siya. So, there is a replacement. Kaning starfish, kung maputol ning iyang isa katiil, mutubo ra na siya, dili siya mamatay. Okay? That is regeneration. Next is spore formation. It involves formation of many spores located in special structure called sporangium. So, kanang mga mushroom. Kanang sa ilalim sa ihang hyphae na ay mga spores dira. Mao na siya. Spores are microscopic cells enclosed within a case carried by wind from one place to another. So, mao nang bisag asa ra gatubo ang mushroom. Next is vegetative propagation. Mao na siya sa mga plants. Okay, we have a process which new individuals are formed, not from seeds or spores, but from other parts of plant. Okay, so horticulturists artificially propagate plants in order to keep particular desirable characteristics. So, horticulturists, kung gusto sila o mangita sila og new form of plants nga dili na kinahanglan og seeds, kabalo sila unsa ilang buhaton. Okay, magpadaghan og artificial plants. So we have here the vegetative propagation. Sweet potato. 'Di ba magtubo ra siya sa tuber. Ang tawag niya is tuber. kay matubo ra siya sa ihang tube. Onion, ang bulb, di ba? Di na kinahanglan og seeds, kay ang bulb matubo na siya. Strawberry is runner, kay ang iyang kaniyang stem, tubuan na siya og new root. Okay, mag-ugat. Dayan, ginger, pwede na siya ginger, di ba? Rhizome. Rhizome na siya class kay. Ayang creeping stalk, kani, magtubo ra na siya gikan sa root sa plant kana. So those are examples of vegetative propagation. So they are belong to asexual reproduction. Kay dili naman sila kinahanglan og sperm cells and egg cells. So wala na seeds diri, pwede ra siya sa parts of a plant. Okay, activity time. In your activity, you are going to create a scrapbook. You know what is scrapbook? Kung wala mo yung notebook, you can use construction paper. Okay, the title of your scrapbook is Heredity, Inheritance, and Variation. So, sa sulod sa imong scrapbook na is sexual reproduction. You are going to differentiate internal fertilization and external fertilization and give examples of them. Then, asexual reproduction, you are going to illustrate the binary fission, regeneration, bud formation, and vegetative propagation. And then, you are going to discuss the advantages and disadvantages of asexual and sexual reproduction in the form of song, poem, or news article. Okay, depende sa imo magpili ka. It's either song, poem, or news article. Be sure nga imuha gyud ang song, ang poem, or news articles. Okay? Do not copy in the internet. So, ikaw gyud ang magbuhat. So, rubric for scrapbook making. Mao ninyong grado ha, diri ko magbase. Overall appearance, attractive, tsada, clean, 30 points. Content facts, kung tinuod ba gyud ang nasa sulod, 30 points. Images, na yung mga pictures, mga examples niya, 15 points. Style and organization, tsada pagka-arrange, 15 points. Creativity, attractive, tsada, 10 points. In total of 100 points. So that is the scrapbook making. Here the memory verse. Psalm 139, verse 14. I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth right well. So for those who can memorize this verse, imuhang i-video imong self o stand sa akong messenger account. If you will do this, you will have an additional point. Thank you and God bless.